Okay, so step one on manual SQL tuning is to identify the poor, the bad, the top SQL. So this is a DBA task. So poor, bad, top SQL. Why? What are the characteristics of a poor, bad, top SQL? So if you are to look at it, I'm also documenting it inside my lecture notes so that you will still be able to read the documentation after the class. So I do not know whether there is still really a need to video or capture the lecture notes since I am already doing the documentation in my notepad or my spool file. So these are the four reasons why a SQL statement is classified to be poor or bad. So one, the suggestion is to focus on the SQL statement with a very high disreads. So the question is who to prioritize. I have answered that question already. Who to prioritize? I'm typing. So I said go for the one with the very high disread. In so doing, it will automatically improve your network usage. Aside from your network, automatically it will also cascade to your memory. And lastly, it will automatically cascade to your CPU. Or if you do not want that statement, then let's ask it again, who to prioritize? Then the possible answer in this question is the one, it depends on what resource is currently exhausted. So again, is it CPU, memory, IO, or network? So those are two answers to that question. Again, I said focus on the discrete because if you are to be able to tune this, it has a very big cascading effect to your network. Imagine a 10 gig disk read. It will be using a 10 gig network, a 10 gig memory, and a 10 gig worth of CPU utilization. Compare it to just reading a 1 gig. So everything should start here. But if not, then you may would like to look at which one is exhausted. And that's what you focus on. Do we now have the last participant? No, we don't have it yet. Okay. So let's start. I prepared the script. The name of the script is Top 10. It's not yet well written, but I guess it's good enough. So prior to running it, I'm gonna do some flashes. Thank you. So done. I erased the contents of the buffer cache and the contents of the shared pool. So my expectation is that, okay, this is $SQL. This is a DBA $V view. So if you do not have access to it, ask your DBA to come up with a view and then simply grant that view to you. So that's one. So let me run it. This is top 10. This is based on this read. So it's coming from $SQL. I'll be sending to you the scripts as well. I remember I told you this one is pulled to file or logged to a text file. So all of this will be given to you at the end of the course. So this is the top. Okay. We do not have any for me. I just flushed the shared pool and the buffer cache and then I just restricted it to the schema name that I'm currently using. I don't want to see those SQL statement executed by system and all the other users who I do not know at this time. Okay, so where do I go next? I would like to fire a program named poor.sql. So sorry about this class. All the scripts are pre-written, and I'm not willing to type in front of you. So let me just fire all of them. I don't know how many. So that's a total of 6 SQL statements. Thank you. So I need to execute them for them to go to the shared pool. Oh, sorry, I'm post to on for us to be able to later capture them. So you're asking whether I am delivering the lecture on a DBA perspective or a developer perspective. So this will be a DBA perspective. Don't worry, maybe after lunch we'll be doing it via the developer mindset or approach. So running the top SQL again, don't worry about the SQL statements that I have just executed. Uh, they will be the first SQL statements that we will be tuning in the next 1 hour. So running top SQL again and then passing ordered by this reads. Thank you. So that one will do. Any questions? So I am currently hunting for the poor SQL statements, the poor, the bad, the top SQL, focusing on the username SH questions. The bad news with this select statement is the last SQL statement, in memory for the last 1 hour by default. So these are simply listing of poor SQL statements now. Don't worry, my next select statement will be the history. So this is for now. So this is my number one, this is my number two. Remember, I executed 6, I guess. Yeah. So those will do. Maybe I can just sharply show up the top 20. Now, the rest of the SQL statements that you're currently looking at, which I did not explicitly execute, are what we call recursive calls. Some SQL statements get in the trap, but I did not fire them. So again, moving forward, you call them recursive calls. SQL statements executed by Oracle himself. SQL statements executed by Oracle implicitly to service your request. Thank you. Questions so far before we proceed? So these are the top SQL via this read. I can clear my screen and run it again. So just simply recycle the code. These are the top SQL statements with very high memory usage. Top SQL by memory usage. That's buffer get. And then, so this will just be a parade of poor SQL statements. This one is via the CPU. I know very well that you can see the same report via your AWR, but then again, remember the class is manual SQL tuning. So this one is CPU intensive SQL statement. That's via the CPU time. And lastly is the network. Again, I have told you that in this class, I will only focus on those SQL statements with a very high disk-read operation. So this one's network trick. Okay, done with the first requirement. Let me just summarize. Step 1 in manual SQL tuning is to look for the bad, the top, the poor SQL. Again, we need to read from V $SQL. But the problem with that one is now. The definition of now is within an hour previous view. Thank you. Let's go.
Jul,
Yes, sir.
sorry, I have a question. What version are we using again for the training?
We are currently using version 12.2010
Mm,
here.
um, so there was a this there was SQL statements that were executed by Oracle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are those gather stats? Uh, are those gather stats from executing the SQL statement?
Remember, I flushed everything from the memory, the shared pool, and the buffer cache. So it seems like all the things I flushed, the metadata of Oracle to be specific, were again loaded by Oracle after the flush operation. And those I consider as the recursive SQL. So these are SQL statements implicitly being executed by Oracle to service a request. One very good example of a recursive call is you queried from a view. So your select statement is via a view, and the recursive call will be actually executing the view statement or the select statement written within that view. So all in all, you have executed two SQL statements, one explicitly and then another one implicitly. If you were able to see some dynamic sampling from the result set, me running top 10 SQL again via 1, 2, 3 this reads, 1, 2, 3, 4. Are you referring to this SQL statement?
Yep.
This has nothing to do with stats gathering. All of this, again, I told you are implicit uh, SQL statements or recursive calls. Is that clear? Yes, Dom. Your question, please. O, may
Okay.
raise hand na tayo, oh.
Using 11 gig this one, so it doesn't matter.
Regardless of the version, that this
Yeah.
SQL statement will work.
Okay,
And
thanks.
and this one is free.
Okay, thank you.
Nasagot ko po yung tanong kanina. Am I able
Uh,
to answer the question earlier?
yep.
Okay.
So this these select statements are from dynamic sampling, or
They are currently performing a dynamic sampling operation. Uh, they are currently performing a query, but not actually gathering statistics. We will be discussing hints as well. So bear with me for now. What I
okay. Thank
know
you.
What I know is the tables that I use in the query, the AMP RAMI table, has no statistics at this time. So possible reason for it to give us numbers on screen is for it to perform dynamic sampling. That is to briefly answer the question. Let me just document that one. Again, the table used in the query is no. So when I say no, I have just created it earlier. It doesn't have statistics. It doesn't have statistics. So now you understand why this hint was used implicitly by Oracle. This hint was used implicitly by Oracle for it to give us dynamic sampling statistics. Someone I think is currently joining. Thank you. For it to give us dynamic something result. Hi, Carol. Good morning. Ikaw na ba yan? Okay. So, let me just do set auto trace only, explain. And then let me just simply do select star from count na lang, mrami. Here, that is used to, this simulation is used to tell you why that implicit select statement displayed earlier. I got 14, I got 12. Okay, thank you. Carol, would you like to introduce yourself, your name, your company? Asan na si Carol? Andiyan na ba? Carol, can you hear me? Si Carol ba yun? Ayun, naka-iPhone. Kala mo, ha? Carol, is that you? Okay, balik na lang siya later. Ayaw pa niyang magsalita. Okay, is the question now clear?
Yep. It's
Okay,
clear.
thank you very
Thank you.
much. Yeah. So, don't worry, the next step is to gather statistics. Okay, let's proceed.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning, madam. Thank you for attending the class. Okay, so where do we go next? So done with the first step, so I think we can go to the next step. Next step. I was telling you, I also need to talk about the history. Sorry about that one. History. History can be picked up from DBA, his SQL stack. Historical execution of SQL statements can be picked up from here. Oops! With license. So that is part of the AWR. That is part of the diagnostic part. To be specific, diagnostic and tuning part. So avoid reading from it. Avoid from reading from it if you do not have license. Do you know what that the DBA view can do for you? I want to see the statistics, historical statistics of a specific SQL statement. I want to see the historical statistics of a specific SQL statement. So I can see the curve. Questions? Whether it is improving or is it regressing? Say, for example, you execute the program every day. So you wanted to see the statistics on a daily basis for that SQL statement. Questions? I can see the trend, I can see the curve. So I can tell whether it's improving or is it regressing, improving or regressing. And when did it execute fast? What day of the week? Okay, let's see this one. Let's focus on the top 10 again. Again, via the this read. Thank you. Let's focus on the first select statement. Sorry, I told you the program is not yet well written. It will be showing you everything. I just post it to 12, and then the reason why you see 12, and then I do a control C every time it executes. Okay, control C. So again, I was already able to capture the SQL ID. Thank you. So the request is, show me the historical execution statistics of this select. Since I have license to use AWR, I can run my program named top 10 hits and then simply pass that SQL ID and bang. There you go. Thank you very much. So let me just make it look good. Perfect. So if you are to interpret the result set, this one's telling you that the SQL ID was executed 3 times already. That is based on the report. You may would like to focus on its snap ID 684. I should have ordered it by snap ID, no ordering. Anyway, so can you please tell me whether the SQL statement is improving or regressing? But before doing that, let me just do the order by. Okay, running it again, passing the SQL ID. Thank you. So now I am requesting you to tell me whether it's improving or regressing. That let's focus on the this read. So initially, it used 285 blocks. And then second execution use this much. And then third execution use this much. Questions? So first execution is this reads of 285. Second execution is this reads of 8521. And last execution is, I think this one will be a lot better if you are to plot it in a graph. So it will be, you'll be able to see the curve and then the trend. So I have now my conclusion. I therefore conclude a regress. It seems like it's not doing a logical read. I do not know. You may would like to look at the snap ID to investigate further. The snap ID is 4, 6, and 8. Let me do that. That's rdbms/admin/awrrpt. Again, it's 4, 6, and 8. 4, 6, and 8. Naku, push pa tong blokong to. ah. So what's wrong with my AWR? Okay, congratulations. Okay. Nangyari dito sa AWR ko. Pangit-pangit. Let me run it again. Set echo to off. Set pose to off. Again, coming from our DBMS admin of AWR RPT. Okay, so this one's telling me that number of days all there. 4, 6, and 8. Questions? So the snapshot number 4 was taken last June 11, yesterday at 2:35. So do you now have any idea why the disk read is too low? Okay. And then snapshot number 6 was done at 5:25 yesterday. I hate myself. I flushed the buffer cache. I flushed the shared pool. I should have deleted the snapshots as well. And snapshot number 8 is today at 9 a.m. Any questions on the result set? So let me document that one. SQL plus slash SHSH. Again, me telling you that snapshot number 4 was taken yesterday at 2:35. Snapshot number 6 was taken at 5:25. 5. So it's already poor since yesterday. So people are complaining. It executed very fast yesterday morning. And then by the time afternoon comes until today, it's already bad. Thank you. So see how very important is this select statement. But then again, I was telling you that this comes with a license. So if you do not have license on using the DBA physical statistics, what you can do is to just simply run the top 10 every 1 hour and send the result set to a table. Execute top 10 hourly and save the result to a table for you to have a historical execution run. If you do not have license to use DBA physical stats. Okay, let's end there. Let's stop with the first step on manual SQL tuning. So let me just briefly summarize for those who just came in. This is what we have discussed already. I'm currently sharing now my notepad, and we're currently summarizing what we have discussed in the past 40 minutes. I was about to give a number here, but sorry, I don't plan to. So I can end the lecture anytime. Manual. Joke. Okay, we're ready to go to the next step. Let's proceed now to the second step. So any idea what is the second step on SQL tuning? Okay, so let me just say step 2 in manual SQL tuning. So the second step is to detect stale or missing statistics. So that's step number 2. Okay, let me just do another simulation. I have a poor SQL statement named this. Let me just put it in the memory. Thank you. Let me just simply pick up its statistics. I hope it gets to the number 1 slot. Okay, is it there? It's not even in the top 10. We're looking for channel class, CH channel class. Oh, there. Okay, I'm happy with that one already. So a SQL statement has just been executed and it landed to be the top 6. The SQL statement named star.sql is now at top 6. So what to do next? So again, I told you that this query is for the DBA. The first step is identifying the top SQL and it's a DBA task. So we move now to the second step. The SQL ID is this one. So the next step is to pick up its execution plan. So I have a select statement that can be used to pick up the execution plan of a specific SQL statement in the memory. Again, in the memory. So meaning you only can use the select statement if it's within the 1 hour period. I hope it's not set to post off there. Thank you. Hmm. Is the Let me just some review. This is not the execution plan that I am expecting. Cheating. Cause one. Uh, I'm cheating. Okay, it's 100. Anyway, this is the result set. So we just simply stick to it. Any questions on this one? Magdadaya lang ako saglit ha. Briefly. Cheating, cheating, cheating.
Julie, sorry, what's the parameter for again?
Or
The parameter, the adjacent or the
cost adjustment.
ADJ cost.
Cost adjustment. I will talk about that. That is our step number 4.
Okay.
So give me 1 minute. No, I'm cheating at this time. Okay. Okay, we'll just stick to it. Sharing my screen. That is not the execution plan that I was expecting, but since it's the one that gets that displayed on screen, then I will just live by it. I'm actually looking at the reasons why that plan was given to me. Again, this is RP2 and this is the execution plan. I was expecting it will be giving me an 11-second execution with a very, very, very high cost. But looking at this one, again, I do not know. So I am thinking if I tweak some parameters, the reason why it's behaving like this. Anyway, yan na lumabas eh. Panindigan na lang natin. Okay. So again, the second step is to detect whether statistics are up to date or current. So the time is 7 seconds. The cost is 515. And whether you're asking me whether this SQL statement is bad, I can say yes. By just a glance, at a glance, can you tell the SQL statement is bad? I can say yes. How? Here, the sales table was accessed via full and returning this much. And then your final query return just this. So my conclusion, it's bad. So one, avoid too much this read. That is to do read less. That is you needed to avoid throwaway records. Why did you read 1 million rows only to return just 572 records? Why read almost 1 million of rows only to return 572? Anyway, that is not our topic for now, but that one will do to give you an idea. So you're telling them that to read an execution plan is to look at the table with the most number of rows, and you need to kill this one. Killing this will make this one 1 second execution. Okay, no? So everything starts with looking at the table with the most number of rows being accessed, and then you compare it with the number of rows being returned. So you may would like to say that's 572 over that's 918K from dual. Nakapost pa rin ako, no? Sorry. Ilang percent yan? That's not even 1% of the population. That's bad. I would do a table access full if it will be returning more than 60% of the population. But if the customer is not happy with the execution, then I'll go for an index transfer. Table access full is okay if 60% or more of the population will be returned. But if the customer is not happy with that 60%, then avoid table access full. Uh, I panic. Did you see me panic? I was expecting it will be returning an 11-second or more execution with a very high cost, but it did not. So, what could be the possible reason? Let me check. Ouch. Huh. I forgot the name of the scripts that I've written yesterday to automate the lecture notes. Okay, I really don't have it. So let's just write it. The table name, the number of rows, the average row length, the number of blocks, and the column named last analyze. Focus on that column. From the user tables, where table underscore name is in. This script is already pre-written. I forgot the name, possibly because I'm panicking now. Relax, Julie Manuel. I need to finish a 3-day class in 1 day. There's a pressure on me. That's sales, that's channels, that's sales, that's customers, and that's time. 4 tables done. Thank you very much. Run. Perfect. Okay, now I get it. I save it as stats. Mm. So look at the last analyze column. If it's not today, that's stale. Again, look at the last analyze column. If it's null, then it's missing. So those are the two definition of stale and missing. But honestly, we have another column to look at whether stale or not. Stale stat in the user tab stats table. But for now, this one will do. The result set is telling us that the DBA gathered the stats of the table last July 7, 2014. Oh, this one's new. June 20, June 10. That was last, I don't know. Okay, we'll just simply pick that up. Ting and ting. Any questions? So if it executed very fast yesterday and then it's not behaving properly today, what comes to mind? The statistics may either be missing or stale. That's step number one. The performance yesterday was okay. Now it regressed. Possible reason? They truncated the table last night and then performed the bulk load and forgot to gather statistics. Possible reason? They truncated the table last night, and refreshed the warehouse. And then they forgot to gather stats. Thank you. So let's gather the statistics. Please ask questions anytime. Oh, ito na naman, oh. So let me gather statistics on that schema stats. I do not like that one. DBMS stats. Gather table stats. I don't like to use gather schema stats in real life, gather table stats. When we tried reading its documentation, it gathers everything. When I say everything, even those tables that are not missing and are not stale. So whether the statistics is stale or missing, that gather schema stats gathers them all. Gather table stats. The first table is say. The first table is sales. The next table is the sales table is too big, so that will take long in real life. If it's a partition table, you may would like to consider doing an incremental gathering faster. Hello, are you there? The table is 42 MB. So now you understand why it's taking long to perform the operation. It's T stats, don't forget. So we just wanted to update all of this to the latest date. Hey, what's wrong with you? Any questions so far? We're currently talking about the second step on bagal. Would you like me to run that one in parallel? Opening another session. Doing the gathering of the statistics on the other window for the rest of the table. Nakanganga na yata ah. Okay. So, on a ayun, tapos na. This is time. This is customer. I need to document it here. So, sorry, I am not allowed to open another terminal. And lastly, the name of the last table is channel. Okay, done. The name of the script that we've written earlier is tstat. Running it again. They're all updated now. So again, make sure that before running your report, gather stats. So given that, I performed the flush operation. Thank you. I executed my star. Thank you. I run my top 10. This is via D3. Earlier, it was top 6. So now it's top 1. I'm fooling myself. I just performed a flush. And it's the only SQL statement in memory. Running RP2, set post to off. Running RP2, passing the SQL ID. Okay. Pages to 1,000. Echo to post to off. Okay. This is what I've been looking for earlier. Okay. What? Gathering table statistics does not guarantee performance improvement. If it improves, thank you. If it does not, then you move to the next step. Gather table statistics does not guarantee performance benefit. In this story, it regressed. Okay, and that is when SQL tuning starts. Okay, questions on this one? So I think this one is the worst statistics for this SQL statement now. This is what I am expecting earlier. So sorry. Yesterday, I recreated the database after performing series of testing so that by today it's fresh. So now you understand why that statistics was taken last 2014 when the database was created. So just to tell you, I'm not cheating. Okay, questions on this one. So what's next? Okay, this is the next request. Customer is requesting that it should be tuned and it must be 1 second. According to them, based on their baseline or based on their historical run, it's running at 1 second when the application is new. When the application was new, it's running at 1 second. So the request now is to bring it back to 1 second execution. Please return it to time 1 second. So how am I to do that? For some people, what they will do is to just simply roll back the old statistics. Remember, before gathering the statistics, the query was running for 7 seconds. When the statistics was stale, it was at time 7 seconds. I hope you were able to see that. It's still bad. It is still bad, actually. Oh, I know, game. So before I perform the tuning, uh, customer, can you show me the baseline showing it's at 1 second execution? So do you have the old execution plan? Do you have the old execution plan to justify the request? So the customer say, wait, let me do it. Let me show you. So this is stats. Ay, sorry. E-stats. So what I'm gonna do is waste your time. I got a script named B. Ah, I hate myself. Okay, let me just type it. Execute dbms underscore stats dot delete underscore table underscore stats. The owner SSH. I'm wasting your time. Bear with me. And the name of the table is sales. And the name of the table is times. So that's sales, that's times, that's customers, that's customers and channels. So when I run the T stats again, I got this. This is the definition of a missing statistic. Statistic. Thank you. Doing the flash and running the star, picking up from the list via this read, running it to be the number one, picking up its execution plan. Sorry, you are looking at how to do monitoring on a production environment. We'll do the dev testing later. I'm still on set to post on, set poll to off, and pages to 1,000. I list, I run. Thank you. So this is what the customer is showing me. This is the baseline execution of the SQL statement when it was new. So confirm, it really is running at 1 second execution. Confirm, the baseline is telling us that when the application was new, that when the report was new, it's really at 1 second execution. question. So your question maybe is, why did you delete the statistics? The answer to that question is, I am currently pretending that the application is new and the tables at this time doesn't contain any rows yet. Thank you. Now you understand why it's fast. So if you do not have statistics, this is what will happen. It will be doing a dynamic sampling. So look at the note telling dynamic statistics was used. That note is telling you that the table has no statistics. That note is telling you that at least one of the tables in this story, all of them, at least one of the tables involved in the query doesn't have statistics. Questions? And whenever you see that note, stop. Do not rely on the numbers that you see on screen. They are all unreliable. Whenever you see this note, stop reading the execution plan because the numbers are from dynamic sampling. Because the stats are from dynamic sampling and they are not reliable. Even the execution plans are not reliable. So whenever you see this note, gather stats. Okay. So whether you like it or not, I'm gonna gather again. Bad news, I did not save the gathering script. Oh, I told you the scripts are now getting in my head. That's a G on time. That's a G on. Hey, the times is a small table. So this one is customers, and this one is channels. And lastly, so by now, I am expecting that you now have an idea in mind telling, so if my SQL executions are not behaving properly, I just need to gather statistics. That's step number one. And then if it improves, thank you. If it regrets, then you move to the next step. Okay, we're ready now for the third step in manual SQL tuning. Third step. In real life, you do not need to gather statistics because every night the statistics are being gathered from 12 to 4 a.m. and then the window closes at 4 a.m. So finish or not, it will be continued the next day. So if you have 100 tables and then you was only able to gather statistics for 500 tables, then the rest will be continued tomorrow, next day. Yeah, these stats. Perfect. Am I still to do an actual run? Of course, yes. Doing the flush, doing the star. Goodness that the scripts are there. And then after series of loops, you will be very used to how it is done in real life. That's step 10. That's via number 4. That's RP2. So the bad news with your AWR reports is that they do not contain, I hate my post to on and my echo. So let me just edit my RP2 that before running, the post should be off and the pages should be 1,000. That will do. RP2, passing this SQL ID, done. So it regressed. Let's move to the third step in manual SQL tuning. Third step. I'm currently sharing to you my notepad for us to summarize briefly what we have discussed in the past 30 minutes. So you've seen the step 1 on screen, and we're ready now to do step number 2. Step number 2 is to gather statistics. Thank you. Focus on the last analyze. If it's null, it's missing. If it's not today, it's stale. Never mind the rest. We'll discuss them as we go on. Okay, ready now for step number 3. Any idea what step number 3 is? So sorry for the way I delivered the lecture notes for this class. It's an exact science of which once back in your work, you just need to follow the steps from step 1 down to the last step. And then possibly after a year doing step 1 to N, it will later become an art. Step number 3. Sharing my terminal again. Okay. So this is the time and this is the cost. And we plan to improve it now. Look at the name column. Why are they all tables? Look at the operation column. Why are they all table accessible? Don't we have any indices on those 4 tables? So this is now step number 3. So step number 3 is to verify whether indices are available and ask your question, why are they not in use? Verify whether indices are available and why are they not in use. Ready to run that one now? I have a script named ally. Thank you. Echo to off. And the script simply lists all indices available in the table name that you provide. Ready? This is li on sales. This is li on times. This is li on customer. And lastly, this is li on channel. Ouch. Li on channels. Thank you. Wow. That's a total of, this is 5, 6, 10, 11 indices on 4 tables. And not even one of them was used. Why? O, diba? The 4 tables are fortified with indices, but the optimizer is not using them. What could be the possible reason? Okay, reason number 1. Step number 4 in manual SQL tuning. Again, 3 is check whether indices are available. And in that story, we have lots of them, so we don't plan to add any. Check if indices are present. So step number 4 is why are they not being used? So step number 4 is check or verify database parameters. It could be the DBA's fault. Possibly the DBA doesn't like to use indices. And that he prefers to do a table access rule. So conclusion, the DBA is not index friendly. The DBA is not index friendly. Not actually the DBA to be specific, it's the optimizer. And the reason why it's the DBA. Okay, let's go to the first parameter. The name of the first parameter is star transformation. Parameter. Star transformation. If it's set to false, if it's set to false, if it's set to false, again, me telling you that it will not use indices. The optimizer is not index friendly. That it prefers to use table access full. Questions? When set to true, it will use all indices available. So it will be index friendly this time. You are only to use this parameter if it's a star query. Please only use this parameter if it's a star query. So let's define star query on screen. A table named sales, also called the fact table, is joined to at least 2 or more tables, dimension table. So in this story, sales is joined to times and is joined to channels and is joined to customer. That's 3 tables. Minimum of 2. Thank you. So the query is candidate for star transformation. So you need now to talk to the DBA and ask the DBA to change this from false to true. The good news is the DBA is my friend. And globally, he changed the parameter. So in data warehousing, this parameter should be set to true. In data warehousing, this parameter should be set to true. In OLTP, we do not need it. The next parameter will be used for that one. It's now set to true. Thank you. Flushing. Am I wasting your time doing the flush and then the actual run? You can just simply do a theoretical run. Let's star. Hey, where's your echo to on? Let's stop 10 via number 4. Let's RP2 via the SQL ID. Nakapost pa rin siya. Ha 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 ha. Set lines to 1,000. Again, list and run. It did now perform a star transformation and it now executed for 6 seconds, coming from 11 seconds earlier. Questions. Let me just put it in my notepad. I do not know whether it improved or it regressed. It's up to you to find out. Okay, let's check if it improved or regressed. I'm currently sharing now my notepad. Notepad, please. Thank you. Let's review. This is the first execution wherein it was able to record 12 seconds. This is the worst statistics after gathering the table statistics today, June 12th. And then I tried deleting statistics to reestablish the baseline wherein the execution plan to show you the execution plan when the application was new and the table doesn't contain any rows yet. So 1 second. This is the baseline. So now after performing star transformation, it's now registering an 8 second execution. Others will say it's 6. Others will say it's 8. So me, I just pick up the highest number and then simply declare that one to be its timing. So it's 8. And then for some, they compare the cost. The cost is 936 for the original 12 second execution, but in this one, it's 1031. Is it not at 422? Okay, question. Hello, are you with me? Did it improve or did it regress? Let's hear it from Arnold.
Um, Julie, are you putting me on the spot?
I know who to call.
Uh, yeah, so I think the main reason why the cost is changing is it's really dependent on the statistics of the table. So the more accurate the statistics of the table, the more accurate the cost is. So sometimes if you have a wrong stats on a table, the cost might be low, but it doesn't really mean that it's fast. The query is fast. What we usually do based on experience is we also check what you're showing, Julie, the CPU time or the disk reads delta and CPU time delta, because that's the actual execution of the query itself.
Okay, good. Okay,
So
so
this one, the reason why it might be the cost is a little bit higher, but it might be faster in the actual run because the stats are correct already.
okay, so we had a debate with I had a debate with DBAs from ADB and myself. Oh, NDA. Sorry about that one. We were talking about whether which one's faster, the 12 second execution or the one with a 6 second execution. So it took us the entire day to talk about which one's faster, this SQL ID or this SQL ID. Questions. So it's a question between response time and throughput. So both execution plans are good, but one is good for response time demand and the other one is good for throughput demand. Response time is OLTP queries, throughput is data warehouse query. So if it's a data warehouse query, then this will do. But if it's an OLTP query response time, then you should be using this one. Questions. I have one big problem. We're ready now to go to step number 5. I tried talking to the DBA and requesting that start transformation be set to true, and the DBA said no. So what are you to do next? Let's clear the screen. I talked to the DBA and requested that start transformation be set to true. And he said no. enabled. Do you know the reason why he said no? Okay, so this is the reason why. And he said no. So why? The answer is, in a day, we are running 100 queries. I tried setting the star transformation equal to false. I tried star transformation equal to false. 99 queries regress and only one improved. So if you are a DBA, if you are the DBA and only one improved, so now you understand why it should be set to false for now. So what to do next? Step number 5 na, no? 5. We'll take a break after this. Step 5 in manual SQL tuning is override the DBA. Is override the DBA. So conclusion, programmers, developers are more powerful than the DBA. How? We will try to use him. That's step number 5. So if you know very well that after series of validations, checking, testing, monitoring, you know very well that that one will improve performance only for that specific statement. Then what you can do is you can use hint for that purpose. Ready to do it now? So I say show parameter star, and I say alter system set. Star transformation is set to false. Set to false. We forgot to identify which indices were best earlier. It's sales cost baked, channel baked, and time baked. So from the 11 indices, the optimizer chose to utilize or use 3 out of 11 indices. Thank you. Next, please. So the start transformation is now set to false. This is our start query earlier. Me trying to edit it and then putting a hint on it. Slash star plus star underscore transformation. 15 years ago, 15 years ago, all I thought I will be a very good developer programmer if I am to memorize all the hints. I think I have with me 100 hints plus all in all. But now starting 11D up, we avoid the use of hints. Saving this one now, let's start transformation. So this one will only apply to this SQL statement. Saving that one to star F, clearing my screen, doing my flash. The bad news, which is mentioned by Arnold earlier, is that I am not recording the actual statistics of the SQL statements earlier. Sorry. Top muna. Top 10. Okay, 4. I should have recorded these numbers and we should have base it here. And this number should be enough to verify whether the plan 1 and the plan 2 is enough. I'm so sorry. I'm very much focused on the execution plan. This is where the DBAs look at initially. And then if they are in doubt, that's the only time that you pick up the execution plan and drill detail or drill down. Thank you. So it's the same, set lines to 1,000 and leave and run. Thank you. So this is start transformation and via hint and not a parameter change. it's still registering the same time, the same cost. But then again, me telling you, I wasn't able to record the old statistics of the table. Any questions on hints? Okay, briefly, let me just pause for a break and summarize steps numbers 4, 5, and 6. Tama ba? Naka 4, 5, and 6 na tayo. Okay, let me go to my summary page. Where's my summary page? What's step number 3? Marvin, step number 3, please. What is step number 3? Marvin.
Gather stats.
No, that's step number 2. Step number 3 is to check if indices are available, worry why they are not being used. In this story, we're not adding because we have 11 indices already. So there's no need to add, there's no need to rebuild, there's no need to redesign. Step number 4, Angelo. Angelo, what's step number 4? Oh, no one's listening pala. Patay tayo dyan. Mark, Angelo, step number 4. Hindi nyo maalala ha? Patay tayo dyan. Bang! Make sure that the database parameters are well set. If not, the DBA is not willing to cooperate, override him using hints. Tell the DBA to always use all indices available and ask the DBA to use the best indices available. So this one, start transformation enabled. And wait for the next one. We still have another one. Ding. Okay, what's step number 5? What is step number 5? Oh, it's step number 8, not number 5. Okay, so use hints sparingly. And then you got all the reasons why not to on screen. They are used to influence the optimizer. They're used to override the DBA. So if the optimizer is failing, giving you the wrong plan, and you know very well that this is the right one, then use hints. But starting 11G up, it's no longer being discussed and that we need to avoid them. Today, they are very fast, but after 5 years, they will be deprecated. After 5 years, they will be obsolete. Are you willing to go back to your code and later delete them? Maintenance, expensive. We will be using many hints all throughout this class just to use to verify whether the optimizer is still okay. Okay, so 5 is maintenance. They are not suggested. Again, it's fast today, but they will be deprecated. They will be obsolete if you have a new version. Are you willing to go back to your code and delete them? Good news is that you're no longer there in that company. So leave it to the other people. I've been talking for 1 hour and 30 minutes. Can we take a short break? 10 minutes, please. If you are okay with the request. Ano daw?
Sure, no problem.
Sure, no problem.
Okay, thank you.
I think you can stop recording, then later you can start.
Thank you.